change. Voices rising, breaking the cage. Static fades, a clearer sound, where answers sparkling, truth is found. No more silence, no more waiting. Every word is worth debating. Tune into the people's frequency. Solutions loud and wild and free. A network built on common ground. Change begins where voices are found. Stories shared like seeds we sow. Roots of action begin to grow. A million streams, one steady flow. The people's voice, the power we know. No more hiding, no more doubt. Speak it clear, let it out. Tune into the people's frequency. Solutions loud and wild and free.
We are. Greetings, Sanbonani, Dumelange, Absheni. Hello out there once again. It's your boy AK back again with another episode of the Creative's Cultural Corner, double KC, proudly powered by the People's Podcast Network. We are still on the path of seeking practical solutions for the social challenges that exist within our creative industry, from arts, music, and entertainment. So on this episode, we actually have a guest once again, but I'll actually give her the time to introduce herself. But before we actually do that, just a quick reminder, if you're new to the show, this is your first time tuning in, please click that subscribe button down there. Don't also forget to go follow us across all our social media platforms. It's at the People's Podcast Network, that's our handle. And you can also subscribe to our monthly newsletter and blog on the peoplespodcast.wordpress.com. That's where we share updates of everything that's happening around the network, from the Game Changers and Dreamers Awards and Spoken Words movement, just to name a few. But feel free to visit them. I think you'll find something that resonates with you, because we're a community movement at the end of the day. But let me not waste any further time. Let me introduce our guest for today on the show, Miss Idah. But I'll actually let her do the introduction by herself. Miss Idah, how are you?
Right, good. I always say good. Yes.
On a Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's actually an honor to have you on the show, because I actually think this is long overdue.
It is. Yes,
Considering I've known you for more than
a few years now.
Yeah. More than 4 if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So this is long overdue, but it's finally happening, and I can't wait for us to sit down and engage, get to know more about what you're doing in the industry. But before we actually jump into the deep stuff, let me just give you the opportunity to let our viewers know who you are, what you're doing. The platform is yours.
Okay, Kina Idah Setati. I'm best known in the creative space as Edah West. The best from the West, don't try and detest. Tell a friend to tell an uncle to tell a toe. I'm a child of the Most High God. I am a servant through my gifts. I'm a mom. I serve as a mom, a sister, a daughter, a community contributor. That's me. Because everything else really just transcends from that point of departure. So, in my essence and my core, that's who I am.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you, very pleased.
Seems like you are a lady who wears many hats.
I do.
You're not just focusing on one thing,
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to unpacking everything, because of feel free, this is at home,
The people
it's for the people, by the people at the end of the day. So let's jump into the first conversation.
Okay.
So before you tapped into the entertainment industry, before Miss West,
yes,
before the brand,
yes,
who were you
Sure. So before that, I was obviously in high school. Academics, we're top achiever, top 10, active at school, sports, public speaking.
For sure, no little top 2.
It's born. I had a competitor, I'll never forget her, but that's a story for another day. But that's been me. Before the radio, because straight out of high school, he's only into radio, Gazumpel. It was my birthday month, January, and he's like, no, come through, it's your birthday, come be a guest presenter. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I can but before I got into radio, I actually wanted to be a lawyer. So that's where the passion of wanting to speak for those who are voiceless and, you know, wanting to have an impact. Yeah, so that's where originally the whole thing about community building and impact comes or stems from. Yeah, and then from there, I got into SRFM, GH is like, nah, stay, do your thing. And I'm like, yeah, why not, you know? I was part-time studying at UNISA, doing my law degree at that time. And then obviously doing the freelance work, the volunteering work here at Westside FM. I got for more, where I got introduced to, you know, what radio is, what the purpose of radio is, the capacity and the power that it has. Through my gifts and my talents, yeah, I learned how to do the technical stuff, the content producing, the news reading, the executive producing, yeah. So I think that was my gateway. I believe it was my gateway into all the other creative facets within the within the creative.
That was the gate.
That was the gateway, yeah. But I didn't want to be a radio head. I wanted to become an actress, high key, low key, you know. But yeah, when that opportunity kind of threw itself at me, I just accepted that with both hands and I embraced it. Yeah, that was the beginning journey. In the beginning, that was that.
Yeah, I can tell that it's been one heck of a
yes,
journey, you know.
it has.
But that's something that we'll unpack, you know.
Sure.
So like, as we are still there, you know, as you highlighted that you started with radio.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So as you were starting out, like, what did success look like? You know, as we were still studying it, because I know for like usually when we start, it's like Haketoma podcasting.
Yeah.
After 2 episodes, I'm thinking, I should be having 1 million subscribers. Maybe I'm making money.
Yeah.
All those things. Like, so for you, like, what did success look like at that point?
Oh, that's a good question. So success looked like one, understanding what radio was, understanding the network, how the ecosystem works, specifically in our community in Kagiso, because that's where my starting point was. And then it was also to connect to the relevant people so that the career could kind of propel and progress. But I remember a lot of that time I was open to learning a lot of things. I remember also when I was working with the Wahopol during that time at Westside, he's the one who taught me about social media. That was like my first gig there. So success was learning, being open to learning the different facets of the entertainment industry or in the context of radio. And then I think that was my point of departure, because I didn't know nothing, and I was like, okay, I'm here in the radio. And even before that, my handle was, you please don't judge me. My handle then was at Trispanky's Yo. So you can imagine yes, so you can imagine from Trispanky's Yo to Edah West, because I remember Zulu Bell was teaching me about what personal branding is in the context of radio, though I have my own personal definition of what personal branding is. So it's like, no, you have to change your name. You can't be Trispanky, so people think you're out here selling your body. You know, how people are going to take you seriously on air when, you know, speak relevant things, matter out Trispanky.
Like the name and...
you get, it didn't correlate. So a lot of that journey in the beginning was learning ecosystems, who's who in the zoo, how do I begin to navigate myself as a freshman in the industry, who do I speak to, who do I don't, how much do I share, how much do I don't, how much do I give of myself, and how much do I don't.
And I think what you are actually highlighting during your initial phases, it's also some kind of advice someone who's starting out in this industry can also apply, because like that's actually great advice, you know, having like the mind, a willing mind to learn, because of these days in most cases, especially with us creatives, you tend to come across creatives whereby they are not willing to learn.
True.
They think they know everything, you know, and that's something that I've been observing in the industry. So if maybe there's an upcoming creative that's still studying out, as Miss West is highlighting, that you actually need to have like a learning mind, unlike putting your pride and ego at the forward of saying I know everything and thinking you can do everything. As she's highlighting that she had the likes of Bo Teboho Bugs to guide her along the way, you know. So like you also need guidance. You can't do everything by yourself. But let me not talk too much about that, because now it's gonna be another episode on its own. You know?
It is.
So like we are still on the radio part of your journey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what has been like the challenges that you have encountered within your radio journey? Because I know, Jorge, being a creative and being on this journey, it's not always smooth. Finally, the mountains, you know, that we have to maneuver. So for you, like, what has been maybe that one challenge? Because I don't know how you're like, hey, Marawa,
So I can say now because it's been like 10 years now. I've been doing a lot of like reflection at work around who I am, who am I becoming, what does the path look like moving forward. And I realized that somewhere along the journey, you lose part of yourself. And it's very easy to lose the core of who you are in the industry. I came to this realization like last year. I was in the I Have Africa program, topic for another day. But it really, like, it bear a mirror in front of yourself. It's like you begin to face yourself and say, I think somewhere along the line, I forgot Idah and I became Edah West, right? Yeah. And to some degree, Idah then became a facade or an agent I could use to be somebody that I know I couldn't in my own capacity. And that's the biggest challenge I can say that I've faced in this industry, fighting the battle of facades and fighting the battle of a lack of authenticity and being proud of not only the journey of who you're becoming, like as you mentioned, how you evolve, you change, you know. I was 19 at the time, I'm 30 now, that's 10 years. You evolve, you change at that point, and embracing that change throughout the journey is very important. And don't let, like, we know that trends, you know, come and go. There's a lot of, I want to say trends, we can say trends, trends in the entertainment industry that will give you the perception or impression of you need to be a certain way. You need to act a certain way. I remember a time when, I was obviously now stitching out the facets, and I'm like, okay, I want to see this hosting thing, right? Okay, now, because I'm a host, I want to wait again. This is not for me, because when you hear the word host and when you Google definition of a host and then you look at it in contrast to what that means in the entertainment space, those are two different things. And it requires so much of you, not only from a physical perspective but also an emotional state of mind. What it does is, for those, it's fine, we're gonna be honest, right? We're honest. What made me say no to continuing that path of being a host is what it requires, what it takes from you emotionally, spiritually for me as well. I felt depleted after like a hoster. Remember, because people see you, get the energy sitting out there. People serve different altars, people serve different altars, and when you now come into that play, it kind of disrupts the algorithm of your you know. And so, you know, navigating that specific journey is very important, and owning it, I guess. Don't I did this, I kind of did this, I'm like, okay, no, guys, I'm just trying it, you know. It's going to take more than I thought it would.
You know, it's a highlight that point, but it's a topic on its own. It's a highlighting for at the end of the day within this industry. Multiple energies, we deal with different energies.
100%.
And sometimes you find that for spiritual, you're a strong person.
True.
Okay, maybe at that establishment there are certain things that they practice. How Canada sometimes you are disrupting everything now, you know. So I totally get what we are talking about, you know. So like as Upusha radio, it was your gateway to tapping into other fields, you know. So at which moment do you realize, okay, that I have talent for radio, but here I'm gonna need more than talent now, you know, because you know we get to that point, you know. Then I get to I used to just sit here and talk, but then I realized, I can't grow by just sitting and talking alone. I need guests. I need to put myself out there, you know. So for you, at which point where do you realize,
it's more than just talent?
It's more than just talent.
It was, I was at West Side FM. I was thinking it was 2 years and a half I was into it. And then play the first half go Y Academy. I apply, I make it. I make it to the interview stage, where I was interviewed by like the MD, you know, there was the head of news at that time, I get into the interview room, there's a question they asked me, and I realized that that question demanded more than talent. It demanded introspection into self, because at that point they were not looking at the talent, but they wanted to see who you are, who I am as a person. Like, well, how do I function? What's my mindset? What are my perceptions around things? Am I up to date with? Yeah, what are my goals? You know, where do I see myself in the next few years? That for me, it hit me hard, because that hit me hard. That's where I realized what I needed more than just talent, because I'm very ambitious and I believe that whatever God has placed in my heart shall come to fruition. And in that time, when I got that email to say, no, you didn't make it the first time, I was like, okay, that means there's more to it than I thought. You know, maybe there's a little bit more work that needs to be done. Yeah, it doesn't mean that the dream has been declined. Yes, it's been delayed, but so that whatever needed to happen post that experience happens the way that it should. Yeah, so that for me, for that YFM declining, saying, "Hey, girl, can I go? You made it to the interview." You can imagine
it's like
as a 19, 20-year-old. Yeah,
it's like when you get invited for a job interview, for instance. How to interview? Kila one of the mindset you have. Yeah, I'm gonna spend 2,000 on transport fares. I'm gonna buy myself shoes. You know.
That was me. Yo. But the disappointment revealed a greater thing, because even after a YFM, so I don't remember what I did. Oh, the following year, applied, and then I got in. I remember during the interview, I don't remember who was on the panel, but I remember one of the ladies was like to me, we really like you as like a person type of thing.
You have that thing.
Yeah, like that thing, and that's kind of what we're looking for. And really 12 in the whole of South Africa, 12 of us in that program, Y Academy during that time. So to be chosen in that specific moment in time, not only for like my career, but for my voice, because I believe that my greatest power is my voice. And so for that moment in time, that changed the ballgame to say, okay, the work that I've done in self culminated, and it was worth it.
Well, it's more to hard to say, you know, when we meet in these spaces, you might think, you know, maybe the things that we are doing for radio, podcasts, and so forth.
True.
But we never really get to know how, like, it has been one quiet of a journey getting there, you know. The sacrifices, the hard work, you know, the resilience and never giving up. Because from how you're highlighting, it's also giving that thing of saying, as a creative, and if you know what you want, you should not have that giving up mindset. You should always be willing to try and try and try. If you fail, it means you're not saying a band toy. You are like, okay, where can I improve? Where did I, you know? So like, this is gonna lead me to the next question, you know. Like, has there ever been a moment where you were underestimated within the industry? And like, how did that actually fuel you, you know, to actually achieve something that's valuable? Because you know, little moments whereby but man. And I know for Sahoro, I wait again. Abangazi lab.
I've had many moments. If I can mention like the most recent one, that was like 2 years ago, December. When I trended around a false allegation that I was. Follow it. Go and check it out.
I'm aware
See
of
that,
it.
Right? That was the biggest one, because at my core of who I was, you know, to serve the community and to serve that through my purpose, and I've been blessed, you know, creatively, strategically, you know, to be able to improvise, and the game will teach you how to improvise. So that's another thing, right? And that point for me, I will say honestly that it did break me. I felt like the people I was serving disappointed me. I felt like, Mara, how can you let the comments about the people you think are not watching are watching? Let me tell you, the people you think are not watching,
they are watching.
They are watching. We'll never truly understand as to why particularly they do not engage. But for me, that was my biggest setback. Yeah, that was a point in time where I felt undervalued. I want to say underestimated, undervalued, because it's not about whether I feel overestimated, underestimated, but to see my value for me, or to experience my value for me. That's my greatest thing, you know. And for people not to see that hurts, you know. And so that journey around bringing myself back from that dilemma. It's been hard. I won't lie, it's been hard. But sometimes you think, yeah.
Everything happens for
I tell you, I kid you not. And I know it's gonna sound funny, it's gonna sound weird, but there was great revelation that came through that isolation period. Not only did I get to see God kind of showed me which these are the people that you should stay with, and I'm going to mention that Deborah Books was there to support me even during the time when I was going through the post my abusive relationship. And I was at the pinnacle of being an artist manager at the time. At that time, Deborah Books had asked me to come on board to kind of help him manage, you know, his DJ career, because he was coming up. He'd also taken a sabbatical, and so during that time, I really needed like a support system, within my creative space, you know. And what God really showed me was that these are the people that you can take forward with. So I know, okay, Books, I can take forward with him forever. Zuluba, I know, and I can take forward with him forever. The rest, you know.
I think
so that's that.
There's a quote that I like that always says, when it's time to elevate, God makes sure that the tree will always shed anything that's not supposed to be there.
Truth.
You know,
Truth.
like sometimes those toughest moments actually show you who's really there for you
100%,
within the industry. Because I still recall the story, and as we are highlighting that majority of people, they hardly engage. You can share episodes, links, because I know you were you had a podcast. You used to share links.
Yes.
You know, and when you go there and you check comments, it's always few comments. But the day you do something wrong, it's like us here at home, you know. You know, we upload content, we ask questions on social media, but you hardly. But the day we do something wrong, trust me, you'll see even people that you were not even aware of. But why can't they buy show? You know,
understand?
It's God's way or the universe way of revealing that now I'm ready for you to move to the next chapter of your life. Everything that's rotten has to stay behind.
100%.
So, let's continue, you know, because now, Sunday, I can't spiritual, you know.
But wait, Mara, you saying something now, God reveals like the next chapter of my life, right?
Yeah.
And I won't lie, for the longest time, I thought that my niche or my impact was in the entertainment industry, né?
Yeah.
But now I've realized that my core is in social impact, you know, with the community work. That's where I find great contentment in, because a lot of the entertainment is frivolous. It's surface level to some degree, né? Because it's about ecosystems. It's about are you still relevant during that time? What are you doing that still kind of aligns to the relevancy of what's happening in the space? And that's hard, because that means I need to adjust who I am for a trend. That doesn't make sense for me right now. You know, it doesn't make like I need to adjust who I am.
Enough,
no.
My next question was gonna be about something that relates to that.
Sure.
Like from a perspective of like asking you for a, like how do you stay creatively inspired?
Sure.
Without being influenced by the trends? Because these days, what trend almost a new thing every week, from the Zap challenge. Like there's a lot happening, you know. It's like Content Daddy podcast, you know, it has changed because now I have to sit there and talk trash about someone to trend. You see, such things. So for you, like personally, how do you make sure that I see the trends, it's the influence on your creative vision? It's something that you love, as you're highlighting for it. It's all about community work at the end of the day. So how do you make sure that it stays like that? There's no external influences that can go change that direction.
So I'd say it's always remembering your why. That's what's kept me going. Like I said, in high school, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be able to speak for the voices. I wanted to use my talents and gifts to impact society or my community in some shape or form. How that trend will transcend in the midst of the trends is that you need to allow it to kind of manifest in different ways. Like I said, that's why like throughout my career I was able to like make it to the emceeing, you know, then I'll try the hosting, you know, then I'll try out the artist management route, then I tried, you know, that route. So allowing yourself also for it to manifest in different ways, but remaining at the core of the why. So what's kept me going is also, why am I doing it? Why am I here? Does it bring me contentment, or does it feel like I have to forcefully be somebody else, or adjust who I am, or adjust, you know, you know who I am? So yeah, at the core, yeah, it's remembering my why constantly, why I started. So the why can be dissected into different things. I think there will be categories, but like, so why you started, why am I still doing what am I doing? You know, is it still there? Does it still exist even in the midst of, like you said, the external factors, the ups and the downs? Yeah, so I think that's the driving force, understanding your why and constantly reminding yourself of that why. I write it down. I'm a writer, not like a writer. No, like I write stuff, like a journal. I write. I have like I journal my thoughts. I journal my emotions. Yeah, I journal my emotions. I have a notebook for different things. You know, I watch. For example, on TikTok I follow Label Line, so I don't watch a lot of like the dance challenge, and I don't. Yeah,
you want engaging content.
Yes, I want to. Yeah, when I leave, I feel at least it added something, not to me, you know. So I also watch. I'm intentional about what I watch and what I kind of feed myself. So I also watch like the TED Talk. You know, watch a lot of TED Talks. I'll follow pastors that I follow, leaders that I. For example, for me, she's a great example. She's also like one of the, I want to kind of like I don't say role model, but somebody I looked up to in terms of her journey, because I remember when she did that MTV based DJ thing with Nomuzi, and then Nomuzi won when we're all watching for Nomzamo. Why? You know, but Nomzamo still maintained who she was, and then she went in her own like path. Now she's a philanthropist. She's a UN ambassador. You know, she's doing her own things.
She didn't have to participate in trends and influences to be relevant.
Exactly.
She allowed her work to speak for herself
and who she was. Because also when throughout her journey, watching her, the things that she had to go to university, things that she was engaged in, also that plays a big role. Also, where are you going? The environments that you're in. Who are you speaking to? If I'm bored, for example, what am I doing in that bored moment? Am I doom scrolling on TikTok? Am I doom scrolling on social media? Or am I on a call with a friend and say, "Yo, friend, today I'm not feeling that great, but can I chat to you about it? Can I have that 2 seconds?" You know? Yeah, so a lot of that is that investing in yourself. Watch what you watch, right?
Content.
Watch doesn't make sense. Yes. Be intentional about what you watch. Be intentional about who you're around. Be intentional about what you share. And with whom you share that with. That's also important, because there are idea stealers, there are dream snatchers out there also who will go and try and mimic your idea. But always remember that's life. That will happen. But they will never do it in the way that you were meant to do it, in the way that it was calculated.
And I always say it's actually an honor when someone copies you, because it means they are inspired by you. We have had like such moments too, you know. I relate to some of the things that you are saying.
Yeah.
Whereby someone affiliate maybe, hey, we want to work, let's collaborate.
Yeah.
Same idea somewhere else, it's there. But as we are highlighting that execution will all. Even with it, there's a quote that I like using Hore. I can give you the ingredients, my secret recipe to cooking my meal, but it will never taste the same as
the way I will make it. Oh yes.
So now that's something that I live by then. Yeah. Like that's why, you know, right now we are living in times whereby people, as we are highlighting for, hey, be careful what you share, you must not share. Now, you know, I'm that person, like I don't mind sharing what's happening in my life, you know, because I believe if something is actually meant for you, when the universe or God actually decides that we're gonna right now, Miss West, can I get how?
Yeah.
But that thing will always be meant for you.
True.
Even if it's not now.
True.
5 years from now, it comes back to find you.
Yeah,
You know.
true. That's why what God has placed in your heart, whether it's delay, it will come to fruition. It's just by having faith, believing in it, right? Believing in yourself, believe that you are equipped to fulfill that mandate. You get,
And just keep on putting the work.
and
you know?
keep on putting the work. But also, it's important to rest. Ne?
Yeah.
I know a lot of it's always like, yeah, work. But rest is important. And we don't mean the rest, other rest. But
I wonder which one is that other rest.
but like a rest can look different for different people,
Yeah.
right? For me, it's I isolate myself. So I'll sit in my room if I'm not either sitting with my thoughts, because it's important also to sit with things. That's another key thing.
Self-reflect.
Yes, sitting with things, sitting with how you are feeling, sitting with how an experience made you feel. Because remember, we perpetuate sometimes not only our experiences, but how they've made us felt, right? So that's why I say rest is important. Sitting with yourself also is very important. Yeah, that's also something that's helped me along the way. I didn't know how important it was until I felt like I was caving in. Remember, I was showing about how I felt like I'd lost myself along the
Yeah.
way. Now
It helps.
cloud type of thing, and that I felt ashamed of myself, you know. Whew, excuse me. But yes, yeah, that's that in terms of that context.
Yeah, you know, you can tell que Sunday, you know, you're busy dropping
Bona.
deep things. Oh, it's like
It's been a long week.
As you are
online,
highlighting,
you know.
then Nane, I also do those self-reflections.
Sure.
And it's for me, it's usually on Sunday. So I wanna like everything that you're dropping right now.
Yeah.
I think ka Jacob so ha ke setse ke dutse sharp there by my thoughts. Yeah, ke tla ba ke process information and ka Jacob ko utlwile like
You know, some key takeaways.
Some key
Yeah,
takeaways.
that
So, before we actually take a short break, Anne, this is gonna be like my last question, you know,
okay.
because right now we're still focusing on you as Miss
Miss
West,
West.
Miss Idah West, you know, your journey. Before we start diving into the industry, because it's topic on its own.
Mhm.
So, like, I just want to know, and also maybe as our practical problem solvers out there, they are watching. What has been that biggest sacrifice that this industry has demanded from you? Ko gore like, ko gore wena wa bona gore here to sacrifice it, and like you even lost like a piece of yourself
Yeah.
there, you know.
Yeah.
So for you, what has been that thing?
So, I had to sacrifice. This is the deep question. No, I don't want to answer this question. To some degree, I felt like I sacrificed my soul. If that's the honest answer.
Yeah.
Right? Outside of sacrificing my soul, on the like earthly level, obviously I sacrificed some relationships, particularly like one with my dad, you know, because he wasn't one who was, I don't want to say for the entertainment part of it, but
support.
you get, they don't understand it. I don't want to say it's not to support, because sometimes somebody may not support something because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yes. So sacrificing a relationship with my dad in that context, in terms of my career, was something that I had to do, because I had to put my foot down. I was 19, remember, when I left, when I got into the industry, and so I had to say, okay, Daddy, like, I don't know what's gonna culminate out of this opportunity, but I believe in it. I know you don't. I know you're expecting me to be in varsity and doing the law thing, and in 4 years down the line, you know, and I had a plan, you know. So I had to sacrifice my soul to some degree. Sacrificing the soul, but also sacrificing, I don't want to say, okay, that's fine, let's leave it. Sacrificing their soul. Yes, let's leave it there.
Like
There is more, but I think that for me, that was like you.
Yeah, the biggest.
Because now I feel like you have to sell my soul. And if I can give you an example, maybe a lot of women also in the entertainment industry have experienced that, you know, being, what's the word?
Sexually exploited.
Yes! No! Sexualized. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, that one I made sure, you know. And also that's important. Please make sure that you have, like I said, have a support system, even if it's just two people in the industry that you know, whatever may happen, they're here, they're gonna say, believe me. Also, people who believe, it's very important because, let's leave it at that. Yes. So being overly sexualized, people wanting obviously to sexual favors to advance your career or to advance or to get a certain opportunity type thing. Yeah, so those are the two. Sacrificing my soul, that's number one.
So right now, I know I said we're gonna take a break.
Yes.
But I think I'm just gonna add just 2 more questions, and then we'll take that quick short break. So, like, the other question is like, in fact, like you explain it better, it's more like a game, this thing. So, what's happening? It's creative instinct and business instinct. This game is made to actually test your instincts within the industry, you know. So maybe if I read out a statement, maybe I say signing a business deal, you're gonna say business instinct or creative instinct, you know, those kind of words.
So if you give me the word business and then I say money, like thing, I'm just exactly.
Yeah, that's an example. So here we actually using 2 terms, creative instinct, business instinct, because in this industry we need to have both. Considering we don't have managers, we don't have people who are paying for PRs to negotiate contracts for us. So there's a time where you are a creative, there's a time where you have to step into the business role, whereby now we are parasuti now or do that boardroom, you know. So like Erekesa we start now. The first question is, turning down a paid opportunity that doesn't align with your brand, is it a creative instinct or business mind?
That's a business mind, because sometimes, you know, positioning, the opportunity may be great, but it's not the right positioning place for your career. So definitely business.
It's a business instinct.
Business instinct.
Okay, and then second question, signing a quick deal to gain visibility faster, is it a business instinct or a creative instinct? Like, I feel like
it's there in the middle, because it can be both a business and creative, right? It could be the right time to capitalize on that, but it can be the wrong time at the same time. Can I do that?
You need to pick one.
Repeat it for me again.
Signing a quick deal to gain visibility faster. It's a creative instinct.
Yeah, it's a creative instinct.
I think you've already explained. Because the explanation is there.
You get.
And then this is going to be the last question of our game, man. Changing your sound because the market demands it.
Ooh, changing your sound.
Yeah, sound or brand, you know.
Because the market demands it. There was one rule, one of my digital marketing lecturers told us never, you know, the whole rebranding thing, never rebrand yourself unless it's been deteriorated to a point where you cannot save it. So come again with it again.
How do you stay creative? Changing your sound because the market demands it, like your voice, your brand as a whole, because of maybe Nike say, what you thinking? Brand Edah West, Miss West, stone man.
I can say that's a business move. I can say a business.
It's a business move, and it also shows that you are open to constructive criticism, you know. Because I think that's the biggest mistakes we do as creatives, refusing to take in input as an attack.
100%.
You know, I worked with the artist, and you've been in the radio space. An artist will send you a song, and then how Tom went negative? Hey nigga, you hating. But you ask for my honest opinion, and now I'm telling you, but nah, this is not sounding right, and this is so. It says a lot about you as a leader, you know, being open.
And also, don't see it as criticism. See it as feedback, right? With anything, it requires feedback, right?
You take what works
and what doesn't. Yeah, the rest the rest take.
So now we are going in the longevity, you know, like kind of thing that lives within these decisions at the end of the day, you know. So like, I want to know, how conscious are you when you enter public spaces? Because you know, sometimes you go into public spaces and okay, as a brand, this is what you represent. But when you get there, perhaps it's a share in that space, the brand is not aligning with the person. So for you, like, how conscious are you when you are in public spaces, you know, when it comes to such?
I think the one advice I've always like set on in terms of your question is read the room and be able to adapt yourself to an environment or to a situation. It happens. Sometimes you may get to a place, you're emceeing, but the crowd is just looking at you in your face, right? How do you it's happened, it happens. It just, you know, but you learn to adapt, you learn to improvise along the way. So how I remain conscious is reading the room and being agile and adaptable.
I think that's, you know, also advice for the creatives too, you know, like also that, you know. So like, have you ever been in a situation whereby you have ever felt like you had to perform?
Yes, many. But there's been many. Yes. Yes, I won't mention where, when, yes, but there's been many occasions where I felt like I was performing. I remember there was a season where I had the red hair season. Can I tell you? That was, to be honest, that was very, I felt like I was performing. But yeah, there's been many moments, yes. Let's just say, yes, there has been many moments where I felt like I was performing and not being my authentic self,
Okay, I think for now, let's just take a quick short break, you know, let's pause our convo because I'm also a chef today.
Okay,
But so far, like, the conversation, you know, has been one informative conversation.
Good. Those are good questions. Your questions are good.
Thank you. We try, you know, Raza Mahanya no. But if you're still watching there and you haven't clicked that subscribe button, please do so, you know, because by doing so, you're actually helping build this whole community, because of, at the end of the day, everything we talk about, there's also practicality to it, you know. But apart from that, we'll continue our conversation after this quick short break. We'll be back after it. And also, please don't forget that we actually have the Game Changers and Dreamers Awards. Voting is currently open and it's closing on the 28th of March next month. So please go and support your game changers, you know, your local dreamers. These are individuals who are actually bringing practical change within our communities. Because if you check, in most cases, mainstream media hardly acknowledge them, you know. So I think this is the platform for them, you know. But you can just follow us across all our social media platforms for more updates regarding the Game Changers and Dreamers Awards. It's at the People's Podcast Network. It's at the Game Changers and Dreamers Awards. But apart from that, we'll be back after this quick short break. Dango.
Turn the dial, hear the hum of change. Voices rising, breaking the cage. Static fades, a clearer sound where answers sparkling, truth is found. No more silence, no more waiting. Every word is worth debating. Tune into the people's frequency. Solutions loud and wild and free. A network built on common ground. Change begins where voices are found. Stories shared like seeds we sow. Roots of action begin to grow. A million streams, one steady flow. The people's voice, the power we know. No more doubt. Speak it clear, let it out. Tune into the people's frequency. Solutions loud and wild and free.
And we are back again, guys, from our short break. That was a quick one, and we are still continuing with our guest in studio, Miss West, continuing what has been one amazing conversation, As I was highlighting earlier on, sometimes we meet in these spaces, but you hardly get to know more about Spane, the journey, sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes I think that also leads to people forming their own perception.
Yes.
So, this is the platform whereby, we get to sit down and actually set things.
Yes.
But before we actually get back to the conversation, just a quick reminder that please click that subscribe button and also go check out our exclusive community, because we actually have an exclusive community of practical problem solvers. It's a community whereby different people from different parts of life are coming together to try and address some of the topics that we actually unpack on the show, from struggles for creatives, social challenges, So some of the ideas that you see being implemented, maybe it's over and get push sometimes. This community, So you can just go subscribe, Subscription actually starts from 100 Rand and then it goes up Ganjalo. It has different benefits like behind the scenes. You get one-on-one sessions with the team that makes actually the People's Podcast Network, That's where you get to ask the questions that make the show basically, in a way. So it's available on the People's Podcast Network /patreon.com, So feel free to visit the website and check out what we are doing that side. But apart from that, let us dive back into the conversation, and I think before we actually start getting deep and focusing on the industry, this is gonna be the opening question.
Okay.
And it's a question that we like at home, Okay. And I think almost every guest that we've had on the show, this question has been asked, So let's say tomorrow you wake up, you're the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture.
Yes. Ha!
What's the first thing you are doing differently in the industry? Something that's going to be impactful.
I think the first would be access to opportunities. And I know when I say access to opportunities, we speak a lot about the gatekeeping. And so I think that would be the first one. Kind of like a law. If it was possible, to have like a law to say no one will gatekeep, no person shall gatekeep. You get, so that would be my first one. The gatekeeping one, opportunities and access to information and knowledge and things that will help progress people's careers.
So, okay, like now, I want to ask, in terms of the artists, because now we are talking about the creative industry, like, do you think that most of artists or creatives, they are actually trapped by the brands that they create?
Trapped by the brands they create?
Yeah, because
I can say again, right? Because being trapped can be a positive trap or it can be a negative trap. So I think finding that some have found that balance between being trapped by the passion, the love, and doing what I do, and also trapped also by the fact that I need to be consistent. I need to be relevant. There are a few. If I were to mention one, what's her name? Black Sun. Yes.
Ooh,
Black Sun for me, and I've watched her and her journey, and she's there now. She's
a superstar.
You get what I mean? So there are definitely those who are trapped both in the positive light and negative light, and those who are kind of like on the fence.
And we actually have an episode with her on the podcast too,
Oh yes.
when she was getting back into music too, because she actually went through something that you were highlighting, whereby she had to self-isolate, find herself. As we are highlighting the importance of that, that's a practical example. The episode is available. You can just revisit some of our old content there. I think it's on the first season. She was, I think, our third guest, if I'm not mistaken. So it's available on Spotify, Apple. So you feel free to go check it out too. It's one interesting episode. So as we're still continuing, and
Yeah.
because I like asking questions, you know, like I ask questions for a living,
Yes.
so yeah.
As
Like, what do you think? In fact, what does financial literacy mean within the entertainment space?
sure.
Because you tend to find artists usually, you know, they're just dropping,
Yeah.
producing content,
Sure,
but when
sure.
it comes to the money side
Sure,
of things,
sure. It's an issue. I mean, I've also faced that along the way. Even like in the beginning of my career, when I was still getting like the 500, the
Yeah.
the 250 rand in a month. Ne? I'm not saying a week. Then it was a case of horror. It's hand to mouth. And then you kind of get into that system of hand to mouth. So financial literacy would be learning to make the best with the little that we have, right? And staying consistent in that. It's hard. Then I'm also still learning to make the best with the little that I do have. But yeah, in terms of the creative space, yeah, make the best with the little that you have. You know what your priorities are. You know what you should be kind of investing in, right? Whether it's that podcast equipment, whether you're saving up for that 2 mic, understand. So making the best with the little that you have.
so now I'm gonna base it
Okay.
on you know,
Alright.
like in terms of legacy,
Yeah.
you know, like for you, at which point in your career, like where you start thinking beyond gigs,
Yeah.
and start thinking about legacy, as you're
Yes.
highlighting.
No problem.
Yeah, as I was highlighting for like, when do you start thinking beyond gigs and grow? Oh, yeah, I'm doing this for vibes, but now you need to create something long term,
Yeah.
sustainable in terms of legacy.
So in the beginning of my career, I won't lie, I thought nothing about legacy or longevity. It was making sure that my name was out there. People knew my name, knew what I was doing, you know, what my niche is in the creative space. When I began to think about longevity was when you start to have these encounters with people and people coming to say, oh, Idah, Edah, Miss West, you know, I heard you go Gaga, you inspired me to ing. That's when I began to think about longevity. So my greatest advice would be engage with the people that either follow you to some degree, whether they inbox you, you know, reply, do those more DM, I respond. It's obviously just sus, which one is a bit sus, but yeah, that engagement, engaging with the people on the ground, yeah, that's when I began to think about longevity in my career.
And I think that's important for creatives. We should not just be making content just for making.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking that question, you
Yeah.
know. Because of we need to have something sustainable that's
Shoot.
gonna be there even when we are no longer there. You see, some of these interviewers we're sitting here right now, you never know, it might blow up maybe 20 years
Do
from
you
now.
understand?
That time make a matala kusana taba le
Wena.
podcasting. They're like, yeah, one episode it relates
Yes.
to certain things. And I think we're almost at the end of our episode.
Sure.
So I think I'm gonna have last 2 questions
Okay,
on my
shoot.
side.
Shoot.
But before I do that, I don't know about the gents, because we actually have
Sure.
people who are quiet in studio.
Yes.
Bashebana, for it. I don't know if they are any input.
Question.
Yeah, me, I do have a question.
Yebo.
So, throughout your creative space, what impact have you resulted in your community? And ikbuilde kanjani wena as an
Yo.
individual?
The greatest was when I started the movement, the GBV movement, the Victim Not a Victim initiative. That's when the real impact started. That
I'm
was
a victim, not a victim, man.
yes, the victor, not a victim, right? It's 2019. I started in 2019, just after I got out of an abusive relationship, and I really wanted to do something, but I didn't know how to do it. And so the first thing we did was a silent stand, you know, to kind of represent owning my experiences, owning what I've been through, but not seeing that as a delay or like something that's going to deter, you know, my gifts, my talents, my impact, my purpose. Yeah, so that, the Victim Not a Victim initiative is actually what set me apart and why I'm able to continue to do the work that I do from a social impact perspective. Yeah, so that was the point. Yes.
So it's really impact.
Yeah, that was it.
And you know, it's actually you actually had a wonderful initiative there, you know, because of I still remember when it started. Actually wanted to attend the session, but that time I was still a student. Like, yes, I get course and so I didn't have the time. But you know, I think we need more spaces like that, especially 100%. In black communities, because I think that's where like abuse rates are as something.
It's a norm now.
It's a norm whereby you can just be walking. People are around. You find someone just like a couple randomly, you know. So we need more voices within that space, you know. Heidi feminist on Facebook would say the
I get it. That's what somebody asked me all the time, are you a feminist? I'm like, you know, I believe in human beings. Like, you know, we both the male and the females play a big role in how the ecosystem of life works. And so also that's why, like, you let my chance sometimes, and the conversations around, you'd be surprised just how many men have actually gone through GBV, but
we don't
speak about it, you know. And there isn't a woman to kind of say, we are with you in that conversation. We are also taking our content. You understand? And it's not only just Khoshapi. Remember there are other facets, guys, that's the same spectrum of abuse that live within females being abused also lives in the spectrum for the males. So that was the one for me.
That's true, you know. So now I think this is gonna be the question before because here at home we have a culture, you know, whereby we give you the opportunity at the conclusion of our episode whereby you leave a message for our audience. Maybe there's something that we didn't ask. That's the opportunity whereby I flow well, you know, you're leaving something that people are gonna remember you about when they view the show. But before that, I'm gonna ask you, it has to do with legacy again. Like, okay, once it's said, done and dusted, what is it that you want to be remembered for in this industry? Because I know every journey has to reach a conclusion point at some point. So for you, what is it that at the end of your journey, how shall we wanna be like?
I think the one would be, I was bold enough to take the risks, bold enough to allow myself, because sometimes we don't allow ourselves, and also bold enough to never be seen, to never be afraid to be seen trying. That's also another. These are my kind of like my conclusion words. Never be afraid to be seen trying. Never be afraid to be bold in what you believe in your passions, in your dreams, and also never. Don't be afraid to take the risk. It's scary. I know. Do it scared. It sounds. I know people have been saying this. It's a term that's loosely used, but do it scared. Like I do a lot of things.
Do it scared.
Do it scared. Do it alone. You get what I mean?
Your tribe will show up along the way.
Oh yes, your tribe will show up along the way. Yes.
You know, now I always say that, you know, Hore, if you never try, you'll never know.
Exactly.
You'll always live with what ifs. And right now we are living in times whereby if you find that we are still thinking about something you're not doing, someone called Kimberly is thinking about the very same thing.
But it's also executing it. And also sometimes you might have an idea, but you are not the person to execute it. Maybe it requires you to have a team, right, to help you execute the goal to life. Yes. So also don't be afraid to share it with the relevant people, but just also discern, you know, to say, is this somebody I can share the stream with? Do they align? You know, have the conversation with them. What are their goals for their lives? Where is their current trajectory of their life in terms of mindset, in terms of spirituality? It's very important. Mind, spirit, body. Where are you currently right now? Does it align with my goal? And then move from there.
You know, Jens, is there anything?
Okay.
You know, I just want to take this moment and to just say thank you for taking the time, you know, to sit with us at the corner of Creatives, because this is the corner whereby we get to know more about you as a creative leader, as a creative too, you know. So thank you for actually coming and opening up, you know, taking us through your journey, not being afraid of opening up your journey and allowing us and our audiences to actually get to know more about you, you know. And I think maybe in the future we might have a part 2, because we're always pushing, because you never know. Right now, right now, you know, so you never know, you know.
100K people's podcast.
But you know, I just pray and wish that everything that you touch becomes successful,
Thank you.
within this industry,
Thank
and
you.
God and the universe, because I know that we have different beliefs.
100%.
They open up more opportunities for you, along the way. Challenges will always be there, but we keep on moving. There's a quote that I always like when people ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, guys, kala samba sifana ne ambulance. Siyaphambili kanjalo,
Yes.
But apart from that, before we actually let you go, how can our followers and viewers actually get in touch with you? Maybe let's say they want to reach out,
Sure.
support some of the projects that you are involved in,
Yeah.
community work maybe. Because Peda, you want to sponsor and the investors, some
They're
business
watching.
people that are watching, So you never know sometimes,
Yeah.
So how can they get in touch with you?
So on the socials, Idah Setati, that's me on Facebook, on Instagram. My handle on Insta is at Edah West. I change it. And then if you would like to listen to also my podcast, The Wire, we're also on Spotify. You can hit a like there, hit a share and subscribe as well. But also engage in the DMs. People DM me, so don't be afraid. I may take long sometimes to respond, but ultimately I do respond. So don't be afraid to reach out. It happens.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but that's where you can catch me. But also, I share a lot of the important stuff that I do online. So also, if you wanna see me, personally and engage with me, come to the events that I go to, come to the places where I am, and we can engage also from there. Yeah.
Nah, thank you so much.
Oh wait, before pause. Thank you very please and lots of thank you. So I've also been watching you and what you've been doing with the podcast and everything. That it's so great to see another fellow podcaster come into the space, and begin to see the tool of podcasting as an agent of change. So thank you for bringing me along your journey. Thank you very much. Please and lots of thank yous.
Because I hardly get those kind of compliments, and sometimes they are to lift the spirit, to keep on doing the work that we do. Because sometimes we think that we are working, but maybe there's no one watching.
Yeah.
As we are highlighting, but even when that's the case, we keep on producing,
Exactly.
focusing, So thank you so much for the words of encouragement. And who knows, maybe the naked like the wire one of these days, But I think Steve had a question because I saw him raising his hand.
So I would like to know,
Yeah.
I truly I know you. I suppose.
Yeah.
There's a lot behind.
Yes, you do know.
Yeah. But for someone that doesn't know me, kopa guide specialty to how, so that I know where to find what.
Sure. Okay. So my specialty, it's social impact. So when I say social impact, it's the facilitating of either convenings, participating, engaging with the community. We do a lot of, so I'm with the Amakatra, the Youth Activism Program. So we do a lot of work there. Just yesterday, Neki convener facilitating the convening for West Rand with young people. So I do a lot of that. I don't want to say there's a niche, but wherever God appoints me in that time, using my gifts and my talents, I show up. Sure. Yeah, but I do the MCing thing, but it's only it's corporate MCing. It's for things that really matter and resonate with kind of.
And just the children talk. Guess what?
What is the shit?
She's actually my curator for the book launch.
Oh yes. Yes.
Actually, have a book that's actually dropping this upcoming week on Wednesday, 25 on digital platforms. It's titled Roots of Life, Navigating Life, Love and Community. And it's actually shaped by some of the convos we have had on the podcast and along my journey to it teaches,
It does.
So it's all about what we do, about those lessons. So the book will be available across all digital reading platforms from Amazon, Google Play, Apple Books. And then physical copies for now you can order online if you want, but if you want a signed physical copy, pull up on the 7th of March at Touch House Launch for Extension 14. That's where we're hosting the book launch. You can also buy a signed copy physically, fella. So again, a curator on the day, she's gonna be bringing the vibes, and we also have a few performances, spoken word, poetry, that kind of vibe, because it aligns with reading, at the end of the day. So apart from that, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for engaging. And don't forget to click that subscribe button down there. If you were here for Miss West, just stay for us too, you know, because of, we're still gonna be doing sponsored by. But apart from that, thank God.
Bye.
Bye.
I had questions and I want us to. Okay, sharp. I'm late. I'm late.
Turn the dial, hear the hum of change. Voices rising, breaking the cage. Static fades, a clearer sound where answers sparkling, truth is found. No more silence, no more waiting. Every word is worth debating. Tune into the people's frequency. Solutions loud and wild and free. A network built on common ground. Change begins where voices are found. Stories shared like seeds we sow. Roots of action begin to grow. A million streams, one steady flow. The people's voice, the power we know. No more hiding, no more doubt. Speak it clear, let it out. Tune into the people's frequency. Solutions loud and wild and free. A network built on common ground. Change begins where voices are found. No more hiding, no more doubt. Speak it clear, let it out. Tune into the people.